So let's call the select board meeting to order for Monday, October 26th. It is 7:03 p.m. Review, first item, review agenda for additions, removal, or adjustments. I don't think we have anything, do we? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. So if everybody, I see everybody's muted. If you have a question, raise your hand or send us a chat and we'll try and keep track of that. Public forum. Anybody like to speak under public forum about anything that is not currently on the agenda and will take less than 5 minutes? Okay, we'll move on. Regular business. Scout Troop 543, request for permission to perform community service project at Veterans Memorial on the town green on November 11th, 2020. Was Bill going to be on? Val, do you know?
That was the plan.
Bill is expected to be on. James has a prepared request. I'm not sure why he's not on. They're both tech savvy, so I'm a little surprised.
Do you want us to come back to that, Richard?
If you might, that'd be great.
Okay, we can.
Thank you.
Come back. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Town Green Park use request for Town Green Addison County votes November 4th, 2020 and other rally events.
And I believe Sarah's on board to speak to that.
Sure. I think you've all seen maybe the permit application, and we've got a group of Bristol residents and some others from Lincoln and Starksboro who want to put on a rally on November 4th, the day after the election. Basically, it's about election integrity, not in Bristol, not in Vermont. We all know everything works well here, but around the country, there have been a number of different cases of voter intimidation and things that just haven't gone right with the election. And there's a coalition of about over 100 groups that are getting together on the 4th just to declare that we're concerned about the election integrity and we just want to make sure that everybody gets the right to vote and that things go smoothly. So it's basically a way for people to get together and express their concern about how the election is going. And I would like to say I called the rec department last week to change it to start from 4:30 to 4. And apparently that didn't get into your notes, but so be from 4 to 6 because of daylight savings. It'd be a little easier if and then people could go home a little earlier if they didn't stay that late. So if we could change that to be 4 o'clock, that'd be great.
Okay.
I'm here with Howard Jennings, my husband, who also on the organizing team.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Joel.
Just Sarah, now it's dark at 6:15 and it'll be 5:15. It'll be dark. Should you move that to 3 to 5? That's all. People, but they'll be on the park and not on the roadway. So.
Yeah, there will be some part that will do a short march, but that will go up on the sidewalks and we're not expecting that many people. The only thing, because it is a weekday, Joel, that we're just afraid people won't get there from after work and stuff. And so I think we're going to keep the requested 4, but your point's certainly well taken.
Okay. I make a motion we allow them to use the park.
Second.
This is for not just so it's 1, but the other 4, not that they need our approval for the other ones, right, Val? Is that correct? Okay. All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye, raise your hand, wave, whatever. Okay. Motion carried.
Great.
Okay. I see Bill's on, so.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Harold.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. We'll go back to Scout Troop 543, request for permission to perform community service project at Veterans Memorial on the town green on November 11th, 2020. Bill, we'll let you have the floor.
It's actually going to be James.
Go ahead, James.
Okay. Hi, my name is James Mount, and I am patrol leader of the Flaming Tomahawk Patrol of Scout Troop 543 here in Bristol. As you know, Wednesday, the 11th, is Veterans Day. Our troop would like your permission to do things. 1. Perform a community service project, which will be cleaning up the area around the flags and monuments at the town green. 2. Hold a ceremony to honor veterans. The first part is to clean up the memorial area, including getting rid of leaves and any trash. We will put the names of 3 veterans from each scout on a small sign to be posted around the memorial. At 5 o'clock, the second part will be to have veterans and the members of the American Legion Post 19, our charter organization, to attend a ceremony where those names are read aloud and where the scouts present the salute and the Pledge of Allegiance. If we receive permission, then there may be 1 speaker from the Legion and from 1 scout leader. The ceremony will be completed and all the posted names removed before 6 o'clock that night. Thank you for your time.
Nice job, James.
Thanks, James.
Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion, we allow Troop 543 to use the park for a ceremony on Veterans Day.
I'll second that.
Any more questions? All those in favor? Go ahead.
Will this be filmed?
Gotta be-
Neat TV question we should ask.
Yeah. It'd be nice for folks who can't attend to be able to see the ceremony. If
Yeah, you could reach out to Mary or Sean at Neat TV to
Sean.
see if they want to cover that.
you can tell-
John's probably not watching, so.
I think that would be fabulous. One of our boys was perhaps planning on recording it so that members from the Legion that can't make it would be able to see it. So I think
Well, that'd be great.
That would be
And-
wonderful.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Okay.
Did you have a
Richard.
question, Peter?
You want me to try, Peeker?
There. Did I get it?
Yep.
I thought we were voting, that's all. I didn't have a question. I think it's a great idea.
All right. So-
Richard, I like your background.
Valley
Richard,
Forge.
background.
We brought the scouts there. That's a photo from Valley Forge from a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Very nice.
George Washington's headquarters.
All those in favor, raise your hand, say hi. Okay, motion carried. Thank you,
Great.
James. Good job.
Thank you, James. Yep, great.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
You're
thanks, Bill.
welcome, guys.
Thank you.
See ya. Okay. Next order of business, salt shed repair review of quotes and authorization to proceed may include deliberation executive session regarding contract negotiations. See if I can.
As I mentioned in my notes, I did not share the quotes that were, the 2 quotes that were provided, just in case the select board wants to get additional information. So I didn't want to jeopardize the process. Eric,
So I want
you got any other quotes?
let me ask a question. The one quote had 2 versions,
Right.
and I was trying to figure out what the difference was in those 2 versions, other than price.
The difference is, Michelle, is one of them has metal siding on the back rather than putting the pine boards back on.
Okay.
So the theory for that is if it ever happened again, then you could just unscrew the tin, push it back in, and then re-screw the tin back on.
Okay, so if you do that, won't the salt rust that out?
No, because there's sheathing on the inside.
Eric, do you prefer the metal versus the pine?
To me, it doesn't really matter.
Okay,
I don't have one preference over the other.
okay.
It's on the back of the building where we can't see it. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's visible to anybody, even the people at the trailer park.
It would be very hard, even for people in the trailer park to see it.
Okay.
Recommendation, Eric?
What was that?
Do you have a recommendation?
Yeah, but do you want to do it now, or did you want to do
Well,
it in?
we can do an executive session if we want to talk numbers. Okay. All right. You're gonna have to hang around though, Eric. Okay, well, then I guess we'll do that in executive session and move on to the second. We need to have a motion for that to go into executive session for that one.
Eventually, unless you want to.
We don't need this. We don't need to do that now. Okay.
Right.
Curb cut application 20-04DA Beset on Meehan Road.
So hopefully, select board members saw the updated application this afternoon with recommendation for some clearing and the installation of hidden driveway signs that the applicant would be responsible for reimbursing the town for.
So Eric, this is in the field that Hills are currently.
Yeah, it's right across from John Natsett's, or not John's.
Adis.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's going to be a pisser of a spot right at the top of that hill, right?
Yeah, that's why I suggested hidden drive ahead, because he's only got 100 or a little, just a hair over 200 feet headed down the pavement for sight distance. And if I tried moving the driveway when I was up there, and it didn't benefit it much.
Yeah.
That was about the best spot there was.
Yeah, it's just not a great spot. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Eric?
Motion to approve with Eric's conditions, or with the road foreman's conditions.
Second.
Okay. Eric, I have one question. So he has to buy the signs, we'll put them in, but then he has to reimburse the town for the sign for installation, right?
I was gonna get the signs and
Okay.
put them in. He doesn't know where we get them, so I was just gonna call WorkSafe, order the signs and the posts, and then put them in and just submit one bill for reimbursement.
Okay, but he knows, he's aware, he's responsible for that.
Yes, I had a conversation with him. I actually talked with him on the phone Friday afternoon and explained it all to him, and he was agreeable to it.
Okay.
And Eric, he'll get written details of everything that you've specified. Is that correct?
It's right on the permit application that he should be picking up. Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any more questions? All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye, whatever. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, preliminary fiscal year 2022 general fund budget review and process.
So hopefully select board members had a chance to review the information that Jen sent a link to last week. It's not, I don't know that it's accessible right now. Did select board members have a chance to look at that section of the general?
No, by the time I got to it, it was Sunday and the link had expired.
I looked at it. It
I
was
did.
lovely. Thanks, Jen. No, it's great. I asked specifically to have something online that we could see. And I think that going forward, it's a new thing, but I think it's going to be very beneficial. It was really nice. I would probably tweak maybe having it the link not expire, maybe just like become read only for people, and Jen could have, write access, but we could still access it versus doing a piece of paper or a PDF. But I thought the system was great.
I think I can reshare it and make
Okay.
it uneditable right this second. So let me do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I didn't fill anything in because I feel it's something where it's like, it's good to look at it and then talk about it, especially starting with I was going to say as easy sort of budget items as these, but nothing's really easy about it, but as sort of, as a starting point.
Now, this is a bit of a departure from how things have been done in the past. Previous years, staff, department heads would go through all the different budget sections and present proposed budget numbers to the select board at phased parts of select board meetings. Different departments would meet on different nights, and then we usually deal with the department stuff first and then circle back to the general fund items that just kind of covered everything. But in this instance, we are inviting the select board to actively participate in deciding what the numbers would be. So this is a chance to talk about whether that process, if the select board is comfortable with that process, or if you, given what you've seen so far, if at all, what would you recommend? Any changes, any adjustments? What kind of other information might you need or would be useful for this process to move forward?
Personally, I think it's kind of hard for us to plug numbers in if we don't know what, I mean, on the stuff that stays the same or just has the nominal increases wouldn't be an issue, but on the stuff, we don't know what you're looking to purchase or what upgrades you're looking to make. So some of those lines aren't going to be, there's no way we can put a number that's realistic, I wouldn't think, or that meets the needs of the department.
Well, this specific section that we gave you is a select board budget. So it's really the items that you, with the goals and objectives that you as a board have, are trying to complete. So that's why I left it blank, with the idea that you guys would review, add to, adjust your goals and objectives to publish a budget, work on a budget that met some of your goals and objectives, with the idea that maybe you'd go back and trim some of those later if you didn't like the bottom line outcome.
Obviously, I didn't read it, huh?
Well, but no, I think Peter, I think you're right. I think it's something where, because this is a departure to what's usually happened, like looking at the first one that Jen shared, a lot of these like general furnishings, equipment, computer, like a lot of those things the select board isn't heavily involved with for this particular thing. And I think, Jen, what the concept is sound of what you're presenting. I think it's we have to sort of get our heads around the idea of like the things that we'd like to happen. We've relied on departments coming to us versus the other way around. And so I think we need to get a handle on what we want to have happen, hopefully, within the next budget, and then start to look at the specifics, right? Because as this is a starting point, this isn't how do we figure out the budgets that we need when it's specifics like this in terms of Holly Hall equipment and heating fuel. Like, are you talking about like how much heating fuel we want to use or electricity? Like those are things, like the speaker said, aren't going to change a tremendous amount, I wouldn't
Correct.
think.
But like the building maintenance line that we've talked about
Right.
before, like,
Yeah.
are there projects that like we've talked about that we haven't gotten complete or done that are not
Right.
actually capital projects, but projects that we know need to get done, like painting, for instance, or things like
Right.
that you standard hire out. Are there things at town parks that need to get done?
Yeah.
That's that maintenance, not mowing section. Like I know Meredith just had to go get a truckload or two or more of gravel. And so like that's going to be in that maintenance, not mowing line. So
Right.
what are some things that you guys, foresee in those senses? Obviously, like electricity, heating, fuel, those types of things are going to be pretty standard numbers, but the other things to kind of fill in for your goals and objectives, I guess, was really what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
So, Jen, how do you foresee things moving forward?
I mean, do you want to, there's not very many lines. We can go through
Right.
line by line right now. I mean, that was the other idea of this way it was presented was it wasn't going to take 3 hours to go through. So because there's only,
Right.
however many lines, we could try to tackle as much as you want tonight, put notations or comments on lines we want to return to later.
I mean, for me,
Whatever.
I think that would be a good idea, Jen, and just in terms of going through, I mean, that's what we've done in the past, but you've had it where it's like page after page after page, and after a while it starts to become, far more difficult to understand. I think the selection that you have here, just to be able to sort of quickly go through, like, as you said, some of those things are gonna stay pretty much the same, but we can start to highlight things that we can start to think about in more depth. So I'm fine with line by line. It also helps me, being sort of one of the newest select board members, to sort of understand the budget as well, and to know what those things are.
Well, let's just start from the top then.
Okay.
So general supplies, that's just within the office, right, Jen? Mhm. Do you
I
see
have to do
anything? Do you guys
two
see anything
different
that's gonna
screens,
be
so.
coming up that's beyond what the $2,500 that you have budgeted
Right.
for this upcoming year?
I don't know. I'm trying to think, Valerie, can you think of anything? Like, the only thing that's really coming to mind right now are maybe some expenses that have to do with COVID, but I mean, do we foresee those becoming regular purchases that we're not going to get grant reimbursed for? I guess would be my question.
Yeah, we have until, so this, keeping in mind, this is for FY
2022.
right, so it doesn't kick in until July 1st of 2021. I don't expect any other grant funds to be available by then for more COVID expenses. So sanitation, yeah, we should plan ahead for maintaining more sanitation supplies.
Jennifer, does, out of those general supplies, does the election ballots come out of that or no?
Nope, that's its own.
That's clerk.
Yeah, that's in its own realm somewhere else in the budget.
I mean, given the past, history of it, the 2750 to 3, I think 25 seems like a solid number to keep that at, even with changes that might happen because of COVID.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Furnishings doesn't seem to be spent.
Although we did spend money this year when to retrofit your space, Jen, to fit both you and Peter.
Yeah, which came from the clerk treasurer budget.
Oh,
So many budgets.
I'd gladly
all-
move it if
it's
you
all
want.
good.
so what is this line item for then?
Just the general office, like if we needed something for select board like the conference room or something along those lines.
iPads.
Furnishing,
Not for $200, I'll tell you that.
Valerie, 2 weeks ago, you sent me a packet. I bet you used the whole ream of paper.
Can that furnishings become, does it need to be broken down? Can it be put into something else? Since it doesn't seem like it's being used, do we just continue to have it be not used, or can we put it somewhere else?
I mean, I would say that you could probably lump it together with equipment.
Okay.
I mean, if you all wanted to, and with the idea that encompasses a little bit more than chairs and things like that, but it could be a printer or something like that we purchased.
Would the plexiglass and stuff to do for COVID, would that have come out of there, furnishings? The glass?
No, I think
You probably took it out of clerk or treasurer's budget, but it really probably should have come out of there, shouldn't it?
I'm trying to think where we put that. We might have put it under Holly Hall maintenance,
I think that's where it went.
but we're gonna get reimbursed for that.
Right.
So
Well, what can we do? Generals.
I guess just because it's in Holly Hall, I'm not sure it should have been Holly Hall maintenance.
well, that's kind of the kicker,
you're
that
saying.
Holly Hall encompasses the entire building, whether it's downstairs or upstairs. because the heat is one bill, and that's whether someone's renting the hall or we're working in the office.
Right.
The electrical, the same thing, whether we're in the office or someone's using the upstairs. So when there's maintenance done to the office, we put it under the Holly Hall maintenance line because it's part of the entire building. So if you guys wanted to create something separate so you could determine if it was upstairs or downstairs, that would be something that you certainly could change this year and add a different line. But we have always done any maintenance to the building goes in that line, whether it's upstairs or downstairs.
I actually think we should leave it that way. It's one building.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can put furnishings with equipment. And can we call it, does it need to be equipment? Can it be equipment / furnishings? Or I guess we can't do slash, but equipment and
can just leave
furnishings or
it
just
As
equipment?
equipment, I think.
Okay.
And just know that it's all combined. So do you want to increase equipment by the $200, or do you want to just leave it at the 25?
I would say leave it at the 25 only because furnishings doesn't seem to be used. So
All right.
We basically just eliminated the line if we do that.
Right. But you could, Jen, you could rename it equipment furnishings or whatever.
Right.
So
I mean,
it's on the same line.
yeah.
So
No,
the
but what
computer,
I'm saying is if we don't budget any money for it, we essentially have eliminated that line.
you're right, but if we do need something, then it's coming out of the equipment
yeah.
furnishings line.
Or it can come from somewhere, regardless, if we need.
Yeah.
So the computer line, Jen, that's for like a computer, laptop, whatever you need at this point,
No,
right?
this is for the calls for tech support to Dominion Tech.
No.
And it's for, oh, what else is it for?
Can we put tech support on there then? Because every
Yeah.
time I read this line, I
Okay.
think it's for computers.
Yeah.
Sure, let me just make that notation.
Yeah, because I don't think the general areas needs a computer. So, I mean, each department needs the computers, but.
Okay, yeah, this was for the tech support because we were splitting everyone's coverage for Dominion Tech up by department. And then we agreed that everybody's tech support would go to here.
Right. Mhm.
I think was my recollection of the
So
conversation.
that's probably going to stay the same, right? Because that's a fixed cost each year.
It is not a fixed
It's
cost.
not a fixed
Oh, it's
cost.
not.
per
Oh,
hour,
it's
that's the problem.
oh, okay. So we have to guesstimate how much tech support we're going to need.
Exactly.
I've been taking them for quite a spin lately.
Oh, good. I mean, it's given that we're using more and more technology, it seems like having a fairly decent budget for that is probably beneficial.
Right.
So
Even.
are you saying we put it to 2,500 in, or are you saying we get it 23, or?
Let's take that furnishings 200 and slap it right in that tech support.
Office machine service, we don't have that anymore?
Nope.
Okay.
Done, get rid of it. Advertising, that's your announcements, various things for electoral or not?
No, so this is like more, I mean, I guess I would say I feel like we're steering a little bit more away from the Addison Independent only unless, it's a required publishing that needs to be done by a state statute. Would you agree with that, Valerie?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a situation where we would have used this line item rather than a different advertising line item. For example, when we had to publish the notice in the paper or the sale of Stony Hill, that was a good size ad. And would that have come out of this?
Yeah, so that like this town meeting when we have to publish because we don't mail the books and we have to
Right.
publish our warning.
So we only spent $32.94 last year.
Right. Right. I mean, I just
Get Cody wrong.
Well, I think that when we're advertising for things, we're using Front Porch Forum and we're using other free resources rather than, spending the money to advertise in the Addison. And, the police department has its own advertising. They have been spending the police department money to do that. The planning commission and zoning, their advertising is coming from that, not coming from this budget. So this is really like select board advertising more
So-
than this town
But
advertising.
I'll ask again. So last year we did put up the sale of the property.
That was the year before.
That was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Yep.
We only spent $32 and $33 in advertising. You can't even buy an ad for that.
Well, so
Did it
it's,
did it get coded? Did something get coded differently? And we're not using this line is like it should be used.
well, I think that you're thinking of an actual ad, and what we put in is a warning or a notice, and that gets charged differently than an actual ad.
So like last year was the town warning was in the paper.
Right.
Charged to this line?
I assume that that's what that $33 is.
The town meeting warning is pretty hefty.
Yeah. I can't believe that was in that Addison.
And we're going to have some ads
You can't put a lost cat ad in the paper for that amount of money.
Yeah, well, look at the year before was like 2,300, so it must,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we did a lot of job ads too, Val, so that would come out of this line as well, right?
Right.
Ad.
We've been talking about updating some ordinances, water ordinance, sewer ordinance, the traffic ordinance, and those will require notices in the paper.
But those will go to the water and the sewer budgets.
Oh.
And then the traffic one, Bruce, don't hurt me, but that might go to the police department. But I mean, you guys certainly could pay for that if you were going to update the traffic ordinance.
What about knocking this down to 1,000 for,
That's what I was thinking.
okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Val just said,
Yes.
and I know Jen said we're gonna take it from somewhere else, but if we don't, we decide, okay, it's coming out of the general fund, then we want to make sure we have enough in there to pay for that. Otherwise,
Well, we could also circle back to that one. We could
Yeah.
figure out what that 3294 was and then why there's such a huge difference. Because there's obviously something odd is going on given that previous year and then the,
Mhm.
2020 actual. So something's happened.
Yeah, but the 2 years before that was 2,300, so,
No, I know.
okay.
And we haven't spent anything this year. So
Right, not yet. So the other line looks good, the postage.
yeah, I'd say keep that the same. Or, I mean, it's probably going to, well,
Well, postage goes up, went up.
yeah, right.
Yeah, you're halfway through the year, not halfway through the year, and you're almost half spent. So
Mhm.
Not quite.
Is the postage, does that cover the PO box?
Yes.
Because that went up tremendously. Or
Oh,
at least for Bristol Core, a nonprofit, it went from like $132 to $168. It was a huge jump.
I don't know if I've seen.
You might
ours-
want to look into that. Maybe because it's the town, that rate doesn't change. But I would look into that because it was a huge jump for a nonprofit or a small business.
Okay.
Yeah, and is this also for the postage meter, like in the office?
Yep.
Okay, we'll keep that at 4 then. Telephone, that stays around the same, right? Because it's just Waitsfield Telecom.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
We can keep that the same.
So-
And then-
it's not divided up now anymore to the clerk and the treasurer and the admin and all that.
It is. Yep.
What do you mean? So they also have a budget for telephone.
Correct.
So what is this 2,500 then?
This is, I think it's in theory Valerie's 20 phone line. I guess I would to try to easily quantify it. Because we split it up that the clerk and the admin pay the same percentage, and then the lister pays another percentage. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but it's a strange percentage that was a hand-me-down from when I got here that we've
So-
just continued to follow.
When we get to the admin's line, there won't be a telephone in there?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Just was wondering.
Do we want to fix that and put that in there so it's grouped in the right area and fix that anomaly?
It would
It's,
make sense to me. I mean,
Yeah. And then we know, like, if Val's phone is here and then she's got a whole bunch of other stuff somewhere else, it doesn't make sense to have the phone there.
right.
Unless it's like the main line for the town office, but then I guess that's covered under the clerk, right?
well, that's what the funky thing is that we pay, like, we get this one strange convoluted bill for the office. So the only way to easily separate it out is to say that X percentage is the admin, X percentage
see.
is the clerk, and X percentage is the lister, just because those take the chunk of calls. But like,
Right.
you know, I mean, I guess this would also consider Chris. I don't think he has a telephone line. Maybe
Okay.
he does, but I'm trying
Well,
to think.
actually, each line gets us, well, the bill is aggregated, but the expenses are broken out by the individual phone numbers.
So it sounds to me like you get a base bill and then you get additional for the additional lines. Is that right? Kind
Well,
of.
so we just get, and the only time we get additional is if people use long distance. So like you get the base bill for all of the different lines that we have in the office, and then you get, so then we get a breakdown that says, you know, 7770, which is my line that's in my office, used $5 in long distance calls over the month's time. So it's really just like we're all lumped together. So it's,
So let me ask this, does it make sense just to put it all under the general and not break it out?
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask the same question.
I mean, it would make life so much easier,
I
but
don't.
Let's do that.
I don't see any
That's up to
advantage
you.
any advantage to breaking it out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, at this point, because of the way that the call flow goes, I think that, and as we had discussed in the past, I think Valerie, like, general fund is kind of general fund. It is nice to break some expenses out per department, but when it's one huge lump sum bill, you know, it's like almost like breaking electricity out is what it
Right.
feels like a little bit at times, because it's certainly a tough task to do. But if you guys want to keep it broken out, we can keep it that way. But if you want to lump it all together, we can lump it all together.
I'd say if it makes life easier, put it all together. Unless Val's making a heck of a lot of international calls, it doesn't seem like you guys are going to have a vast difference in your calling. So I would put it all in one and to make it
I
easier.
think, Jennifer, isn't it right now, if I remember right from my old listers days, it was 40% treasurer, 40% clerk, and 20% listers?
I think it's something close to that, Joel. I think you're right.
And then maybe this is the rec department phone upstairs, Valerie's phone, and Chris's phone,
I think the rec has their own phone line.
even though it's in Holly Hall, but it's a different number.
Right.
Right.
So that's the only way we can kind of tell, because everyone's got their own number. So the ones that I would keep separate would be, well, I don't know. I guess it's up to you, but
Well, if the rec has their own line, then
Yeah.
you can tell which one is theirs, right?
right, that's easily identifiable. It's
And I
really
might-
like the downstairs office area that's
Yeah.
tough to sort out.
Since they're their own department versus the clerk, treasurer, and town administrator, I might keep those all together and have the rec department still be separate.
Okay,
So can you make a note on here somewhere about,
adding a comment here.
okay, yeah, sort of
One
lumping those all together. Anything that makes the budgeting easier, I'm all for.
Perfect.
Yeah, the town administrator and the zoning administrator sections do not have telephone listed.
Okay. Oh, thanks for looking at that, Valerie.
Yeah, I've got the town report right here.
POL insurance.
Property, something.
loss.
Public officials
and loss.
liability.
Oh, that's right. Public officials liability.
Is that going to go up?
Well, we got you on the board now, Ian.
Very good.
Don't they always go up?
We get the invoice from VLCT late November, early December that has those figures that we divvy up,
That's right.
calculate.
Can we put that in when we get that number? You said in
Yeah,
December?
we could level it for now and come back to it.
Sure.
I'm on the wrong sheet here.
Landfill.
It's quite variable from year to year, and it depends on incidences or other what they call experience modifications, and so they will include a discount sometimes, or sometimes the cost will go up depending on various factors. So it's
Well, Peaker's definitely alluding to incidences with me, I'm sure.
I'm just picking.
Landfill fees, is that actually fees for the landfill or is that trash?
That's the,
That's our, yeah.
that's the trash hauler,
Okay. That's what I thought.
which is gonna have to go up because of that
The
extra.
second pickup,
Right?
yeah. How much was it a month, Val? Additional
don't
month for them?
It was only a few hundred. But also too, we were going to look at perhaps looking at an alternate or looking at another group to do it. That was something that we had discussed previously.
Yeah, sending out
Yeah.
requests for quotes.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a good price. We're probably not going to find a price like that.
Yeah, and if we're halfway through the year and it's 305 already, we're not.
Not even quite,
Not
yeah.
even half.
We're not
I'd
even
make it,
half.
I was thinking 600 or 750, somewhere around there.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, looking at this, it's gonna be closer to 700 or 800.
Oh, we put 750, all in favor?
Sure. We could always change
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yep.
true.
True.
Oh, good. The miscellaneous, always fun.
This is really just kind of what we use to send like condolence flowers or things like, that's pretty the most miscellaneous we get at this point.
Okay.
I'd
Well,
leave
we
it.
were at 1,500. We spent 2,100 one year. I have no idea on what. And then we
Because that
dumped
was
it.
everybody's, wasn't that everybody's parties? No, I guess that's not far enough
Yeah, we
back.
went through a lot of turnover there for a while. Retirements and
Yeah.
But yeah,
on, yeah.
I see
So
then.
we
50.
need, let's level fund it at 500. See
Yep.
what happens.
Great.
Okay. Oh my God, attorney's fees, you better triple that the rate we're going through attorney's fees.
We need to stop being sued.
We need to stop having issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the proper way of saying it. Oh, good
Right.
Lord.
Or, and we're not even,
12? Michelle, 12,000? I'm not even looking at column C. I got that, my blinder up. I'm not looking at.
Blinder on.
I'd say, well, maybe 10.
that's what I was gonna say, 10.
Okay,
As much as I hate to say 10.
And this is
22
the
for the
audit.
account. What was their last year quote, Jen?
I think it went to 25. Is that right, Valerie? Do you remember?
I don't have that in front of me.
I think it went to 25.
I was gonna say, I know it's more than 22, but I don't remember, so.
That's every year, right?
Right.
That's every
Yeah.
year.
Have we put that out to bid lately, Jennifer and
I
Valerie?
have not. I have been reluctant to do so. Valerie has done a great job of asking me, but I have been very reluctant to do so.
Because
I
you're
mean,
afraid of what you might get?
No, it's just because we now have this 10-year working relationship. It's really
Yeah.
the changeover piece would be really hard. I remember watching Therese go through changeover when we first signed on with Sullivan and Powers, and you basically have to start like they know nothing about you, and it's just a really super tedious task to do. And I'm happy to do it if you guys are feeling unsatisfied with the audit. I'm not feeling unsatisfied with the audit.
I'm not saying we're unsatisfied. I think we keep an eye on it. If they continue to click it up 2,000-3,000 a year, we just say, I guess we're going out to bid, and they may think twice about keep going up.
Okay.
And they may come in as the lowest bidder.
They may.
Yeah, I think Jen, you've talked about that before, right? In terms of that relationship and reasons to keep keep them
Right.
versus looking at someone else. Yeah.
Okay, so in the town reporting.
Michelle, can I ask about one more on the accounting?
Go ahead.
In column C 19, we spent almost 28,000. Was that a double? Was that we had to do a single audit on a federal grant or something?
Yes.
Was
Yes.
that for West Street?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do some of these things pass through grants, Valerie? Do they require a special audit?
Only a special audit for when we reach a certain threshold of federal funding.
And second question, then back that up is, if let's say this thing up on the river, I know it's not going to be that much, but if we had something like that was a pass through, can we pass on it if it was a single audit, it was a couple of $1,000s, can we get reimbursed from that pass through grantee?
Sometimes. It depends on the grant agreement and the proposal that the grant agreement is based upon. Sometimes, actually more often than not, the town throws in administrative fees as part of our match.
Well, administrative fees on your end, I mean,
it's the same thing. It's
but it's money out of our pocket when they say, well, we got to do a separate audit, and that's a couple of grand, $2,500.
It's often considered part of our match toward the grant, those kinds of things.
Even if it was like, okay, I'm going to, not to pick on KTP, but let's say they were going to do a complete upgrade and they got up on Pleasant Hills a few years ago, they applied for, I don't know, $400,000 or $500,000 grant to do all the new windows and stuff they didn't. do. And we said, run that through us. That might have required a single audit, would cost us $2,500. Is that
in many ways, in many instances, that can be included in the project budget? Yes.
okay?
We ready to move on, Joel?
No,
Yeah.
because now that Joel has mentioned that, I think that with the grant that we're working together with Stony Hill on top of Brett's FEMA grant, we're gonna reach that threshold that Valerie's talking about, which is $750,000 federal funds. So if I had to take a really, really good guess, I would say next year we're gonna have a single audit. Would you agree with that, Valerie?
It'll be pretty close.
Is that in 2021 or 2022?
22.
And if we get funded for the Basin Street project, that's federal funding.
So
And
what
it'll
does that
be
mean, Jen?
22,
Up this?
Michelle, because we'll be auditing 21. So we'll be auditing 21, but the payment will be in 22. If that makes sense.
So do we need to up this?
Yeah,
Amount?
I would say that I would think that we should, if you want to be able to cover that single audit cost.
So that was an additional, what, $5,000, $6,000? So he's gotta have to be more than that, I'm assuming, right?
So, I mean, if 22 was our baseline and they did
Right.
another, what's that? $6,000.
5,900.
So, I mean,
Yeah, now I thought-
31 would be equivalent, but I can ask the auditors how much a single audit would cost to see. You could put 31 for now.
We might not actually hit the threshold because the phasing of the payments. The Stony Hill is $500,000, but it's going to be parceled out over time. And this thing, I'm not sure what the fire department's schedule
They're a
is.
one-time purchase.
Right. And that was 120 something? What was
200 and
what was that?
over 200.
Okay.
Plus we have other grants that we receive federal money for.
Okay.
Just those are the two big ones that were sticking out in my head. So it's all going to be about when the expenditures occur, which you know, Valerie. So it'll depend, how much we've spent on that Northern Borders grant on top of Brett's grant, on top of any other federally funded grant money from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2021. So I don't know what Kevin's plans are per se for that Stony Hill project, but
Okay,
Yep.
well, I mean, we can take it out later if we figure it out.
Yeah.
But might as well plan for it. Okay.
Yep.
Town reporting. Jen, that's the amount that was quoted by Repro, right? And they were gonna be that way for 2 years?
I think so. Do you remember, Valerie?
2 years.
2 years. So do we leave it at the 950 or is there a reason we would go above that? Like, do you have to, if you ever have to request additional copies or special copies?
Well, it looks like last year we spent almost $1,300. So I guess I don't really know what the quoted amount was.
Well, we paid extra because we had added some extra pages, I think, or they had to do some
Oh, okay.
hour adjustments that were over and above the baseline quote.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I vaguely remember that too, us talking about that.
Okay.
Put it at 1,200.
And if this town meeting,
Right.
an Australian ballot only town meeting with no floor meeting, I wonder how that's going to change the format of the town report and what we put in it.
Well, that will show in the actual for this year, but if it's
Right.
whether you stick with the formatting
Right,
for future years, I guess, right?
right.
So what do you want to put in here? 1,200?
Yeah. Because I worked with Sharon this year trying to get it a little bit better formatted, adding a few additional pages, things like that, just in terms of being able to access the content a little bit better. And I'd like to continue doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I want to boost up that budget, but.
All right. Holly Hall supplies.
Okay, you might want to boost that up since we've been over it the past 2 years.
Yeah.
1,500.
Yeah.
What's covered under equipment?
Yeah.
New bop handle.
No,
Was that no, that wasn't the electronic lock.
no. I'm wondering if it's for any kind of the equipment that we got with the upgrade in the acoustics. For some reason, Meredith is coming into my head saying like different things that they might need to.
That might have been the contract that we hired Sean to do the audio,
Maybe.
the equipment, I think. I think that was for the town meeting, actually. We hired Sean to do
Right.
because it was a separate meeting from their ordinary.
Well, let's just leave it at 250.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Heating fuel looks like you guys came right in, or no, you were a little bit over.
Is that a locked in price for that?
That's not, because that's oil.
Oh.
But this year we might come under just maybe because there'll be less usage, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Working from home, the heaters aren't running as much.
and
Right.
less use of space.
Yeah, but that
So I don't
doesn't
know.
mean that we're going to be that same situation next year. So we got to plan for
Right.
next year.
Right, that's the.
I would
Give
keep
it
it
at
the same as
45.
last year.
I'd leave it
Yeah.
at 45.
Okay. The electric, you came.
I think
We're
that,
over.
well, we were even over 45 last year.
Right. Now,
Again,
but
I mean, this
aren't
year
one
you're
of-
probably going to be under.
Right.
aren't we some of our solar panels down in South Bristol paying for part of our electricity now for Holly Hall, or just all the water department?
No, they split amongst
split.
a few different, but then We also pay some of that back. I guess I don't quite understand that. Maybe Valerie can speak to that better than I could. Do you know more about that?
I mean, within the solar,
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember Sharon saying, wow, we got all these credits, and then we turned around and paid a bill back.
Right.
So we are still saving some money, it sounds like.
We
but
save around 4,000 a year. And so essentially the town on set electric accounts, we receive full credit. So we're credited, and we get all that extra, but we only save 10% of that ourselves and use it, which is about 4,000. The rest we pay out to the solar company.
right?
So we save 4, so we save 4 somewhere, and I guess we could just choose. Well, I guess
well, they bill us specifically to what.
right,
Like
but all
when
those
they send
all
us-
those accounts are zeroed out though, so we would have to choose
We're
in our
paying them
budget.
90% of the bills.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
I didn't
sorry,
hear you,
can
Val.
say that again? I didn't hear that.
Valerie, I didn't hear what you said.
We're paying 90% of those bills. So there's a 10%.
So could we leave it at 4,500? Be
That's what
conservative.
I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking there, $900, and it's been about 4 months. You probably paid, so
Right.
that's $250 a month, some little less. I wouldn't say put it down that much, but I think 45 would do it.
So Jen, let me ask you about electricity. So you said Sharon, she's gotten bills and they're all zero, or they're
I don't
credits?
know if they're zero. They're definitely less.
Okay.
But then when we get the bill from the solar place, it tells us how
see.
much each account owes. So it gets coded.
Okay.
Like, it's not like we can just say, oh, the water department's going to pay it this month. Holly Hall's going to pay it
Right.
this month. So-and-so is going to pay it
Yeah,
this month.
it's
It
that
says what-
4,000 is divided between, I think, 4 or 5 accounts.
And it
Okay.
looks like it's kind of based on usage is the way that it gets
Okay.
paid. But I
But
could
yeah.
be wrong, but I can show you the bill, Ian, so you can look
Yeah.
at it next time.
Yeah, I'm just curious how it comes in. And the idea is that, yeah, we save $4,000 and it would be split between those 4 accounts. So in 4 of those line items, we should be able to just knock off a little chunk of money on those, which is nice.
I think we've received 2 invoices so far, and I'm pretty sure that none of us have had a chance to look through and see how to account for all these things.
Yeah. It's definitely confusing.
Hmm.
Custodial.
So that pays for the cleaning person who comes downstairs. And I
Is there anyone upstairs?
think, well, there was, but we haven't used a cleaner because no one's used the space.
Ah, okay.
And
So,
Meredith has been doing the cleaning herself.
Oh,
Meredith and Alex and Taylor.
Usually if somebody rents the hall upstairs, don't they pay us for the custodial anyway?
when someone's renting the hall, I think,
Right.
but right now we don't really have a lot of hall rentals.
Yeah.
So I think they've just been, as Valerie said, doing kind of the upkeep because no one's really been using the space.
I really wouldn't go by this number this year because it's so unique.
Right.
I'd keep it at 48, 50
yeah.
last year because you got to remember we may have a vaccine by spring, and then this is starting July 1, this budget
Right.
together. Maybe back renting the hall.
Well, no, I was looking at the year before where we spent 5,200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And are we going to need to do deeper cleaning? Well, I guess if we have a vaccine, hopefully you don't need to do as much as we're doing now, but you never know.
Okay, building maintenance, I know we upped that last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do we got? The roof is repaired. And what are the other big things that need to be happening? I know that Val, you've put out in terms of a grant, which wasn't accepted. Is that correct?
We ended up not submitting the grant to the Division for Historic Preservation for the roof repair.
Right.
Because it would have competed with another Bristol application that we didn't want to interfere with.
Okay.
So we'll figure out another way to do it or wait till the following year.
So what does need to be done on the building?
Well, the front stairs for sure.
Okay.
Right.
That whole porch needs to be replaced.
And I thought that's why we upped it to 15 so we could get that done.
are we going to make that 825 go to 15 and have this out to bid so it can be done when nice weather in May and June and before the 1st of July? Is that the thought?
That would be nice. I've checked in with Meredith a few times to find out where things are at in terms of getting quotes for the stairs and for the roof.
Roof is what's got to be repaired on the roof? What roof got to be repaired? What part?
It's there's an area of the roof where I think where the flashing has come apart and it's leaking water inside upstairs. And Rooster Construction did do some interim repairs to stop the leaking, but it's not the full repair. And he was going to shoot, Meredith was going to reach out to him to get a more detailed quote, but I guess everybody's been so out straight with other projects that it's been difficult getting people to be interested in these somewhat small projects.
Could we at least get, I won't say a quote from him. I want to bid on it in May, but could we get him to give us for the steps and get some number so we can put a number in there by January 1st?
Yeah, that would be terrific if we could.
Or if he can't, find somebody who can. I mean,
I'd like us to think about, putting another 15 into this. The building is a certain age and it's always going to need maintenance. And I think it's something that we sort of, in the past, it doesn't seem like the money's been there to make these repairs, or at least to be able to do some forward thinking and preservation of the building. So it'd be nice to sort of keep that and be able to build up a fund for that.
well, if you got to build up a fund, then you got to put it in a capital plan. Because this goes away if you don't spend it at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
And so the trick with that, Michelle, is I think Valerie and I were having this conversation the other day is to the extent of what we're doing and the ability to actually use capital money, whether it's really a capital expense. We certainly could create kind of that extra fund that we could use that would have the money in it. But, then how are you going to fund that? Are you going to add to your appropriations? Or are you just going to keep this in your regular budget to say that this is what we're going to use to maintain the building instead of, dumping, 30, either you put 30,000 here or you put it in your appropriations.
Right.
I guess is the way that I view it.
I guess I personally would like to see it, if you want to increase that in by 15,000, put it in the capital building. And I think like the front porch could be a capital building project, but flashing around the building, I don't think so. I think that's maintenance.
It's really going to come down to the expense of the project more so than,
Right.
I think Valerie and I talked about just doing the roof repair. Like you said, Joel, would be maintenance. But if we did a whole new roof, that would be a capital expense.
Correct.
Right.
Which is, I think, the same discussion we kind of had last year when we were doing budgeting.
Yep.
There's certainly, I've noticed just because everyone's putting their ballots in and posting their pictures, it would kind of be nice to get the front office repaint, the outside, the exterior repainted, that green post is chipping away a little bit. It would be nice to kind of get some painting done. We haven't had anybody here painting in at least 3 years. I don't think. Has anyone been painting since you've been here?
Not
Valerie?
Holly Hall. The interior upstairs because of the acoustics.
Right.
Well, there's also when Ted was on, he talked about the bell itself and the support of that needing to be fixed, where it's sort of hanging on by a thread. I mean, not literally, but something where it needs to be addressed.
I do remember that conversation, Ian, and I don't remember it all, but I remember him saying something because you go up in the attic.
Yeah, he was concerned.
Yeah. I could get with Ted and ask him and maybe come back with a couple of weeks or a month with some.
Well, so since this money needs to be spent, having it in the Capitol building seems like a better idea, but how do we get an idea of what needs to be done? There's always going to be stuff that creeps up on us and surprises us, like the leak in the roof, which destroys a lot of the interior, including that sound, the sound spray stuff that they did, which is very expensive. And so there's always going to be things that we don't know about, but can we get an audit of the building and just see what would need to be done? Have someone look at the bell tower and things like that and get a sense of what would need to be done in the next, 3 to 5 years?
Actually, you remind me of something. The Vermont League of Cities and Towns sends a person over, I think annually, to do kind of somewhat of an audit from their perspective
Good.
of property insurance. And one of the people that they sent over a couple of years ago identified the electrical panel upstairs in the near the bell tower in the attic as needing to be fixed.
Okay.
I don't think it's been done.
And those are the types of things, that's more maintenance thing, I think could come right out of here.
Okay.
July 1st. I'd like to see those things put out to bid by January, not so much the front porch, but the leaking and the electrical. Let's get them done before July 1, so this money doesn't return back.
Why don't we get a list of things that need to be done that we
Yeah.
know of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Because we know we did the electrical underneath the stage. That was done. But it seems like there are some other things in the building. I mean, it's only going to continue to need repair. So we need to get some money stashed away somewhere to be able to afford that.
Right. I think the issue with the roof is we can't find anyone to come who's willing to come do that small of a job because it's slate.
Yeah.
And we had tried, I think Sharon had tried to reach a couple of people, one of which said I had no interest in coming, and another never called back. I don't think, because it's the slate, we have that slate roof issue.
Let me make a few phone calls, Jen.
Okay.
Yeah, there was somebody who did somebody's house on Church Street who had slate that came and did the work. Now I can't remember who it was though.
Well, the gentleman who was on, somebody had slate roof on East Street, and we saw them working on it this spring, maybe.
They replaced the
And-
whole.
Well, and so I said something, I think, to Meredith or Sharon, and they called, and he said, yeah, it's too small of a job. And so that, I mean, I guess that's what we're gonna run into is, I guess I don't know the roof well enough to know if the whole thing is slate, if it's just a section or a portion.
It's the whole thing.
Is it the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole roof is slate, yeah, but it may not all have to be. It may be just a spot that is leaking.
Right.
Well, right. The problem is that that's too small of a job that people don't,
Right.
not worth their money.
We need to find somebody because it's going to be slate for a good long while. I don't think we're going to be doing some standing seam up there.
Do you want to up this, leave it the same? Leave it the same until you get a list?
I'd leave it the same until we get a list. I think
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have an audit, even if it's just a cursory one, to sort of recognize stuff, the electrical panel, the bell tower that Ted talked about, and any other things that we might want to fix. And also talk to Meredith too, because she's going to know probably more than anyone at the moment in terms of things that she's noticed, like, oh, that seems a bit strange. Why is this falling off? Like, that seems like to get that list would be really good.
Okay.
Property and casualty. I would say up that to 5. I mean, I'm looking at 4,900 last year, 5,100 the year before.
Yeah, I'd say 5.
Well, you know what the bond payment is,
I
right?
know, I was just gonna say, I'll fill that in
Okay.
when I get back
Maybe
to it.
more years on that, Jennifer.
Too many, Joel. I looked the other day and I thought,
Too
oh
many?
my word. It's a lot. The water is up this year, but we still
Those
have a
water
long way
commissioners.
left.
We're not in there that much though.
Oh,
Okay, what are you and Sharon doing in there? Having water fights?
water. That's
$81. I'd say that was pretty good. That's-
minimum.
Well, no,
though.
Jen said water is up this year, so that's why I was asking her. Nobody's in there. but
No,
you
I
two.
meant like the water portion of the bond. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Well.
They're just very, very thirsty.
Yeah, really.
Staying hydrated.
Well, that's got to go up. We raised it 8%. Water budget.
Right.
The minimum's got to go up then.
What, 800?
Oh wait, are you talking about sewer?
Yeah,
I think
water and
Sewer
sewer. Oh, yeah,
Sewer-
sorry, sewer, 800.
Sewer could, I mean, unless you're planning on raising sewer rates. We didn't last year or this year,
We just raised the water rates by 8%.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Then leave it the same.
Probably about the same. Oops. And then, what do you want to do? Do 325 by 8%?
I'd go 350 on that.
Okay. Yep, that's about right. Right. Last section, Peeker, I know you're dying. We're almost there. So like this would, I guess, probably not in the supplies, but more so the maintenance not mowing would be like the fountain expenses that you've talked about. The issues potentially that you have, or maybe Meredith got it all dealt with Eagle Park and some of that flooding. Anything that you're trying to do of a memorial park. Those
Do
types
we
of
have, Jen, does the porta potty? that
we
we-
didn't put it out this year.
Okay,
So
because that's
I
at
assume-
Sycamore Park, right?
right.
Yeah.
That's the Sycamore portal. It's POR. It should say portalet. I assume it'll go back next year.
Yeah.
So why did that number look funky? Some of these aren't in the right spots. Here. Right, that's better. So I'll leave that at 550. All right, park supplies. Trying to think what.
That's non-mowing stuff. That was like the brush hogging though, right?
That's so there's a line that's called maintenance not mowing. It's down towards the bottom,
Yep.
Joel, right above landfill
Right.
fees. That's like, that's what we pay when people weed the intersection. That's where we pay. If we have to pay, if we have to buy if we needed to do any kind of upgrades to the fountain,
Okay.
that's, what we pay. I think to do, there's one other thing that was charged there.
I mean,
that
if we had any extra money in that, we spent 1,800 so far, by June, there is still in Sycamore Park. I mean, it's a nice place to go. It could be so much nicer. Some of the old foundations are still not filled in. They're just growing up.
Mhm.
Everything else. I'd like to see us, even if we had extra fill ditching material from Eric and the highway department, put it in those spots and then hire somebody or our crew to level it off and seed it. I mean,
We
we'd
should
have
cut out some of the dumb knotweed that's down there so you
Well,
can get through.
that too, but if
Good
you had
luck.
all area where you haven't got these old cellar holes.
Eric, did Eric just put gravel down there, or did she do that one up at Eagle Park?
We did the one up at Eagle Park, and she's doing the one down at Sycamore Park.
Okay.
I told her when she got the gravel all in, let me know, and I'd send the grader down there to smooth it all up.
Eric, is that gravel being supplied by the highway department and being reimbursed, or is she buying it over the counter, so to speak?
She's getting it from Pikes.
Why aren't we
One-
supplying that?
Huh?
Why aren't we supplying that?
I have
Imagine
no idea.
we can get that cheaper. We put up 20,000 every other year, don't we?
No, we only put up about 5,000 yards.
Or
every
5,000, excuse me.
Pikes will occasionally donate. I remember Jerry used to get donations from Pikes
Oh, okay,
all the time.
that's the best price. I like
And
that.
she may be getting it donated. I know that she couldn't get the trucks donated to travel, so she's been using her 1 ton.
Okay, so Jen, the supplies line, what usually comes out of there?
And that's what I was just trying to think of is, I mean, I guess anything that maybe Alan needs to get the cleaning or whatever done at the fountain when the fountain's running is
Yeah.
the only thing I can think of.
Didn't
off
we
the top
pay,
of my head.
didn't we pay Henry Ramsey a couple, four, five, maybe $600 to $800 to get some big trees up to the Hartscrabble Cemetery? Didn't we pay that out of that or no?
Not out of the supply line.
No, I meant maintenance, non-mowing.
Maybe.
Remember, we've had some trees down around and he's taken
Right.
them
Do
down.
you remember, Valerie?
I don't. Although that sounds familiar, but I'm not certain.
Right. I just can't remember if we coded that to the mowing for the cemetery, even though it's not mowing, or if you did it.
Yeah, I think it went right to the cemetery. I don't think it came to here.
We have a cemetery line. Oh, we do have a cemetery line. I thought it was just for mowing and cemetery, Beaker. I don't know.
I think we changed it last year. We added another line for improvements.
Right.
And where is that line? Are
In
those-
a different section. of the
Probably under
budget.
cemetery.
Yeah.
Well, yes, obviously.
Well, you come up for that.
It's buried somewhere, Joel.
Oh, gee.
Oh,
6
feet.
My goodness.
We'll dig it out.
Oh.
Well,
So-
I guess, let's just start, let's leave the supplies line at 600. I mean, if worst
Yeah.
comes to worst, we could throw that line into the maintenance non-mowing.
Right. The
Uh,
electricity, I mean, that looked like that was fine at 15.
Yeah, I would leave
Yeah,
that.
and you didn't use any because of the fountain wasn't running.
Right. This is just the insurance. Let's see,
Leave it at 2.
2000.
2026, you mean?
Well,
Whatever it was last year.
Okay. And then does mowing go out? Will mowing go out to bid for 22?
Did we just do that last year?
anyway,
I think we do it every 2 years. I think we did not put it out last year. We were in the this season was the second year. So I think we
We'll
do
be
need
putting
to-
that out to bid.
All right, so
Yeah.
I would leave it at 8 for now. See what we come up with.
And then this was for that grant, right, Valerie?
Well, this was added
Right.
partly because of the emerald ash borer and the fact that we're going to be taking more trees down, but also replacing trees. So this was an effort to start moving in that direction last year.
Right, because
Yeah, I would leave it.
but Valerie, if we take trees down on Maple Pine, any street, but not in the town parks, can we take that money out of there? It says town parks.
Yeah, good question.
I think the way that we've used it in the past has been removal. There's a removal line.
Yep,
And we
has that in his
not for
budget.
anywhere, and that planting has been for, I mean, we haven't planted a ton of trees, to be honest. Like we haven't planted a ton of trees. I mean, we've done the memory tree,
Right.
which needs to be replaced
Some
again.
with the sidewalk project on Maple Street, there were trees planted.
Oh, that's right.
There'll be more.
There's
too,
one
I'm
on
sure.
East Street that we took down for the drainage project that we need to replace.
I guess I don't see why we can't use it out of here.
I don't. I mean, you have nowhere else in the budget to take it from.
Right.
I just bring it up because it says town parks, that's all.
Right.
Well, there used to be a line item in the Public Works budget, but it was zeroed out so many times. I think it was just tree work.
Yeah.
So materials and services, tree work. I'm looking at the town report. It's funded at $6,000, but I think that's been generally removal.
Yeah. Okay, so town parks maintenance, non-mowing. Do we leave it at 3?
Yeah.
Landfill fees? Are we gonna put that out to bid or?
No, this is different.
This is, well, no, it'd be the same, Ian.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh, it
this
is?
Yeah, because
That
this
thing with trash
the
cans.
chunk that's, I think this is Main Street and
Oh, got it. Sorry.
Park, not Holly Hall, but it's the
Right.
same person that
Okay.
does that pickup.
I put the same number in there and put it out to bid. I think we talked before. It's sort of, the price is good. It's just the service is sometimes a little bit off, but I think they've been improving.
I actually think that also, Ian, with the curbside service just quadrupling this year because of COVID,
Yeah.
just can't keep, there's
Yeah.
too much trash, there's stuffing in it. You can't sit down in covers anymore or Bobcat or anywhere, so you got to find someplace to eat it.
Yeah, I know, it's tough.
It's called home.
Not in the middle of the day when you want workers to come in and tourists to come in. It's not, they don't go home to eat their lunch.
Yeah.
Take your trash with you, put it in your car. Are we done with this one, Jen?
Done. Look at that.
5, look at that.
Fantastic.
So I'll work together with Valerie and we'll do a little research on the ones that I made comments on.
Okay.
So that when we revisit this, we'll have better information.
Great. Thanks very much, Jen, for putting this together and sort of offering this new way of doing this. I think it's going to help a lot.
And
Peeker loves you for it.
I can tell, but Peeker, it's now for an hour or it's 3+ hours in January. You decide.
And we're probably still going to be on Zoom, so think about that.
The other thing I did say to Michelle is that I was hoping that the link would not expire immediately on Sunday, that it would give you the entire day Sunday. So the next time that we do it, I'll extend it so that you have Sunday. So, because I know that a lot of you do your stuff on the weekends. So I wanted to be sure to try to encompass that time. And I thought I had, but for the future, I'll do that.
Even if it doesn't expire, I don't think by the time we get to the meeting, I don't think we're going to be mucking around with it, right? So you could probably just leave it as is.
In other words, not to expire.
Yeah.
Just make it, you're saying just make it read only though.
Yeah, but I don't know if you have that option to do that automatically or something.
I don't. So I have to either let you have full, like once I give you editing permissions, if I don't put an expiration on it, it's forever.
Huh.
Or I give expirations with the idea that when we come back to meet, if people have typed in the document and added questions and whatnot, all of that will be there and present, but that one person would edit, which is kind of what I thought was the
So
goal.
just bump it a day, right?
Right.
Okay, that'll work.
Valerie, I was going to bring this up under the budget. These Zoom meetings that we've been doing since March, do we have to pay a fee to use this service?
Absolutely.
We do.
And where was that in the budget?
I think it's under your town officers. I think we put it under your training line because no one's been able to go to training.
Okay.
But
I just didn't know whether it should come out of the general.
I had recommended that it come out of, well, there's a meetings line item in the budget. And to me, that made sense to come out of there, but
Okay.
But it's not coming out of there. So
Yeah, well, maybe we can plan on that for next year because I just see us continuing with Zoom from here on out, just because people seem to like it. We get more people to attend. So it may be something we just continue on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We ready to move on?
Great.
Okay, consideration of employee health insurance and renewal options. And I can tell you, I'm gonna hate this discussion.
so hopefully folks had a chance to see the Blue Cross Blue Shield information that was provided. And then this afternoon I emailed to the select board members and Jen the updated worksheet on health insurance with the updated fees or the monthly or annual fees for single and 2-person and family plans.
Don't tell
So
me
the
they're looking
spread-
for a 15% increase. Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm just stabbing in the dark here. Probably a 15% increase, right?
A little less than 11%.
Oh, boy.
So Val, the spreadsheet you sent us that's with the current numbers, correct?
Current numbers and the projection, we project that 12% increase because it's been a calendar year. So and it starts January 1st of 2021. So we plug in those figures that we know based upon what they've given us, and then we project a 12% increase for the other half of the fiscal year. And that's where the numbers come from.
I'll get my phone.
Valerie, there is a change that needs to happen to that spreadsheet that I can email you.
I did catch one error that one of the employees who's opting out had the HSA contribution in the column, but I took that out.
Yeah, there's two changes now that I see well.
And it also reflects, the spreadsheet that I sent out today reflects some actions that are likely to come out of tonight's executive session that haven't actually happened yet.
Okay, there. So there's one definite change that I will email you about as far as somebody coming on to insurance. And then another change is I think Jared's premium amount changed because I think he and his family changed something up. So I need to relook at that number.
Okay. So the action item for the select board is, well, to decide if you want to see any changes in the plan. This is the plan that the employees have subscribed to over the last couple of years. And we're proposing that the employees still contribute 15% and that the town still contribute to an HSA unchanged. Same as last year. So even though the premiums increased by just about 11%, that also increases that the employees pay. So the employees are paying 11% more as well toward their premiums. I believe open enrollment starts November 1. Is that right, Jen? Yeah. So there's a kind of a short window of time for folks to make decisions or make changes if changes are going to be made.
So which is the current plan we have?
Well, they changed the name of it.
Okay.
So it's now the CDHP Gold of the Vermont Select Plan.
Okay. The one that's highlighted in gray?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yellow or pink,
Oh, yeah, whatever.
whatever. And the spreadsheet that I put on the website it's highlighted in yellow.
Valerie, did you send that to my personal email? Because I don't have it.
I sent it to both, your work and personal. It was this afternoon around 4.
No, I don't get it. So I don't know.
I got it at 4:39.
Oh,
Well, at least that's where it came to my house.
Hasn't come up over the hill in my place yet. So. Unless Ian, can you send it to me? See if it.
Sure.
I'll forward it.
Thank you.
Okay.
and because it's that particular spreadsheet or worksheet has identifies employees particular detail, I'm going to share it online.
I mean, do we see any reason to change plans at this point? Are there any benefits to making those changes? Or do we want to stick with what I mean, I guess it's been renamed, but with the new renamed one?
I mean, no matter what you do, there's always an increase. You know, whether it be, you know, if you change plans, either increase premium or increase deductible. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
it's just a matter of how much, who's taking on what percentage of the increase in the premium.
Do we know the history in terms of, has the town ever looked at bronze versus silver versus gold? Has it always been gold? What's the history there?
Back before single payer healthcare, this was what was offered to us through VLCT that was most comparable to what we were offering at the time.
Okay.
So we had previously offered an HRA type of plan that was very difficult to budget for and very difficult for employees to understand when they were getting reimbursement, when they weren't, all of those types of things. And then at one point in conversation with a meeting that we had with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they had just basically had said that this other plan that we had that was HRA compatible, we could offer an HSA, which many
Yeah.
employees like more just because of the ability to use that HSA account.
Yeah.
And it would be basically the same, like it would be the same, it was very comparable to what was going on.
Okay.
So that's why we switched to this HSA plan. I would think that I just quickly looked and gave Valerie kind of the rundown about this current plan, but I don't know how many other plans are on there that are HSA compatible. And I do know that that employees do like having the HSA account. And it's not that it goes away. It's just that if we change plans, we can't contribute to them as employees if we don't have an HSA. You know, it's considered a high deductible plan is what.
I guess I wouldn't go away from the HSA. I think that's a benefit to you guys.
Agreed. I totally agree with that.
Have you heard any complaints about this plan, Jen, from anybody?
I haven't, but I mean, no, I guess Valerie, have you heard any complaints?
I have not.
Other than, you know, the premium's a premium. That's what they pay. I mean,
Right. And like the two years prior to this, the deductible had increased. That was the only complaint that I had heard, was that the premium and the deductible had increased. So this is the first time that it looks like the deductible has kind of reverted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
tell them to count their blessings because mine has gone up.
That's what I said. So I don't know if this is something that'll be consistent or not.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only trick.
I mean, ultimately, when they keep going up, the percentage premiums go up. I mean, eventually, the town's going to have to pass some of that back on to the employees. I mean, it's fine if we eat it this year, but if it keeps going up, it's at what point do you say, okay? I mean, I know my office goes through this every year, and I sit there and go and say, oh, please don't spend it too much on me, you know? But at least 12% is better than 15%.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is, and this has come up each budget year lately. For some reason, whatever we budget for the health insurance based upon the information that we have and that kind of worksheet, it's always under in the budget. When the actuals come in, for some reason, we always are overspend those line items. And Jen and I have not been able to figure out why that is.
Because they don't give you accurate information.
I don't know, because it is what it is. I don't know why when the actuals come in, they almost consistently are higher than what we budgeted.
Huh.
So what are we saying we should be budgeting for this at this point? Is that the total expense? Is that the line number that we would be, the 298?
Yeah, with whatever adjustments Jen has made.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Is then everybody good with going this route? No change to contributions?
I guess
Did we
I
put
don't.
you to sleep, Peeker?
Are we up to,
No, I just have a problem with, it's 11%. 11% of a single plan is about $1,000. That's 25 cents an hour. It just gets added on to the end of everything. And when we go raises, we don't even think about that. You know, this is, in essence, this is a raise.
I agree.
Michelle,
And that, you know, I just find it frustrating. Even when nobody else was getting raises, we gave raises and we kept the insurance. And I just, it bothers me.
That's because you have to pay your own and I have to pay my own and we get it in the pocket every year. I mean, it's just, it's different when you have to, when you have to pay it out of your pocket and you see what your percentage increases every year. And nobody else pays for that. Go ahead, Joel.
years ago, we started towards that 15%. We're at 15 now, right?
Right.
The police put in 15%.
Mhm.
We are to there now.
Right.
Okay.
This is the second or third year, isn't it, Val?
I thought it was. I just wanted to double check.
I believe it's the second year.
Second year. Mhm. It occurred over a 3-year period, though.
Right. Maybe even a 4-year. I thought we started around 7.5 or 8%.
Go ahead, Eric.
Just one quick thought, and this is just my own opinion, is I agree with Peaker. When the town, it goes up 11, and the town covers the 11 and all that, and that is a raise to us, but he's also got to take in the fact too that our portion went up 11% as well that we pay. So the raises that we get, half of the raises goes towards our portion of our insurance, so to speak, that we're paying. Just food for thought.
Well, I get it, Eric. I definitely take that into consideration. I know that, you're 15% of that is definitely on my mind.
I knew it was, Speaker, but I just, like I said, it was just my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate everything that you guys do for us, so.
So what's a consensus?
Do we even have a choice?
Well, I mean, you can look at the other plans, but if you're going to go other plans, that probably means that a deductible is going to go up higher to get a lower premium, which means then the out of pocket to the employee is going to be higher.
So if we go,
You're going to wind up putting in more money into the HSA.
Ian asked the question, we've been offering a gold or a bronze or a silver. What if it's a gold, and I think it is, what if we went to the bronze?
No, we're currently at the Vermont Select.
So that's not the Cadillac plan, but it's the Chevy,
No.
Renewal, not the Chevy Volt, so to speak,
Right, I think it's in the middle.
somewhere in the middle.
I'm inclined to keep it where it is. I just, it really sucks when you start changing people's plans and they have to relearn everything. That part of it, I do. I don't care for that at all. And I'm inclined to keep it where it is. If everybody's happy with it and everybody's managing to get along.
Can we keep this tape of this meeting and play it when we do raises in June?
No, but I have to say, I'm looking at the deductibles. What we put in the HSA, what are the deductibles? That's the 5,100 for a family plan, Jen?
Or
Or Val?
it might have changed to like, is it going to be 5,000 now? I can't remember what the deductible is. At 25 or 26?
Well, 2,550 for single,
Oh.
it looks like, and 5,100 for
Yeah.
parent, child, spouse, and family.
I mean, I can't speak for all of the employees per se, but I would say that I would feel strongly that a general consensus might feel like they'd rather have their HSA money reduced a little bit before they'd like to increase the premium percentage. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally speaking out of turn here. Valerie could speak to it and Eric could speak to it better as well, because they both are on insurance.
I mean, the only way we can really decide is, I agree with Peter in terms of changing things around. That's always annoying as hell. But at the same time, I feel like I don't have enough information versus looking at the other plans that are available. Obviously, there are large changes in the deductibles and things like that, but we would have to have someone run the numbers to see what savings could be gleaned and how much change would happen if we went to those other plans. Like, we're in the Vermont Select plan, but there are 3 options within there. Like, if we start changing those around, what are our options? And that's the only way I could make a decision, I feel, switching to another plan, is I need to have that presented to me and to see those differences and what those savings might be. And more than likely, it would just cause a whole lot more confusion and complication, but I don't know that for certain.
Now, on your spreadsheet, you have Blue Cross Blue Shield Vermont Preferred Gold 20. Is that this year's for the gold plan?
There are 3 sections. There's the current one, there's last year's, and then the year before that. So there's a year's worth of information there.
Okay, so 20. So the one down at the bottom is the
older one.
Your older ones. But is the Rewards Gold 2020, was that through December 30? Is that through December 31st of 2020 this year? And then the one that says 2021 will start in January.
Yes, 2020 will start in January.
Okay, so currently, I don't know, we're on the Blue Cross Blue Shield Rewards CDHP one, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so currently, yeah, you're right, Jen, the deductible went down on that one. I actually have both of those. For all of them, the deductible went down. So, I mean, the only thing, if you look at that, Ian and Joel and Peeker, if you look at the total out-of-pocket max, they're actually making out better because the deductibles went down and we're not changing the amount that's going in the HSA. So if you wanted to keep their out-of-pocket max the same as it was last year, that's where you could save it if you wanted to.
Are you saying, Michelle, then to kind of link the HSA contribution to the deductible?
Well, no, I'm just looking at the total out-of-pocket max. So like last year, let's just say a single person, their out-of-pocket max was $3,250. This year it's $2,550 because the deductibles went down.
But we're still putting X number.
We're still putting the same amount.
Same
into
amount
their
HSA.
Right. So I get what Jen was saying, if you don't increase the premium percentage, but take out of their HSA, if you want to keep their out-of-pocket max the same as it was last year, that's the way you could do it. I mean, then it's no change to them that way.
My
If
own
you go to the
personal
gold
opinion.
plan, the deductibles are lower, but your total out-of-pocket max is a lot higher.
What was that, Eric?
I was just gonna say my own personal opinion. I'd agree with Jen. For my own use, I would rather the contribution go down rather than increase the percentage of the premium. But I can only speak for myself right now. I haven't asked you guys what their opinion would be.
Right.
Yeah, but that, Derek, that makes total sense, because it's easier to budget for your total out of pocket,
Right,
you know,
but
that way
there-
than knowing your premium, your percentages.
right, there's a flip side to that too. So if you guys decide to, let's just say, match the out-of-pocket expense when the deductibles go up, does that mean on the reverse side, you're gonna automatically put the extra money in for the health savings account?
Well, that's what I was saying. If we were gonna try and keep your out of pocket the same between last year and this year, then you take it out of the HSA. I mean, that doesn't mean they'll do that going forward. I'm just saying if they're trying to figure out how to save some money and not increase your premium other than what, you know, it's going to increase, then that's one way to do it.
Right. No, I agree with you on that.
I can smell the wood burning, guys.
I don't think I can make a decision about it. I don't have enough information, and we don't have the other sort of options presented before us in terms of making those slight tweaks. And I don't know if there's a way that we can get that to be able to sort of look at it in with better information.
So am I hearing you that you want to see a breakout of the 3 different HSA options under the Vermont Select plans?
If it's something that the rest of the select board agrees, like in terms of looking at something in a broad way to see what those differences are, since we're being asked to make a decision about the particular plan, like, I don't know, it depends what other members would like to see. Versus keeping it the same.
I hate health insurance. I hate dealing with my own, so.
Yeah,
Well, if
that's why Ray does it for us, because I don't understand it all at all.
Okay, so if you look at this, if between last year and this year, if you're just looking at a single payer person, if you look at if you balance this by their out-of-pocket max, that means you're taking $700 out of their HSA that we're going to put in. You're decreasing their contribution to their HSA by $700. For the family, spouse, and parent-child, then you're talking decreasing that by $1,400. To make their out-of-pocket max the same from 2020 to 2021. Without, I mean, changing their premium other than what it was going to change anyway.
So Peter says stay as is. Who else is stay as is? Are you leaning that way, Michelle?
I mean, part of my feeling is if we can keep their out-of-pocket max the same as it was this year, as it was last year or the upcoming year, then I would be okay with that.
Okay.
I would too, Michelle. I would like to see it down the road, just to compare apples to apples, is maybe if we said we looked at, what if we went to Vermont Health Connect? Isn't it that, or Green Mountain Care? Isn't that the one you can buy from the state? I know my daughter does that here.
Mm-hmm.
What would it cost for those plans with taking their deductible and they put that part in? Is, you know, I'm not saying we can't even have to think about that this year or even probably next year. But what if we said, you know, by year 2023 or 4, we're going to consider going to a whole different plan and get out of Blue Cross Blue Shield? Or maybe next year we have a Sean Oxford, some of those people come in and give us three different, lay them out on the table. This one would cost you this much per employee health plan for a single, 2-person and a family. And this one would cost you, so we can make some good decisions.
Jen, didn't
Oh,
we
I might
do
be
that when we
wrong.
first did this?
I might be wrong, but I think this is through Vermont Health Connect.
That's
Because
what I thought.
we started that whole process through Vermont Health Connect, and then because they couldn't get their website to work, we ended up just enrolling as a group plan directly through Blue Cross Blue Shield, but I believe it is through Vermont Health Connect. So I don't believe you have an option to dish to Vermont Health Connect. This is the Health Connect option.
Okay.
As
Yeah, I
a
thought we did that
as a
too.
group plan.
I just think we always talk about health insurance once, twice a year, right around budget season. I'd like to really have a good, long conversation about it. We're not pressured and we say, that's 18 months or 2 years from now, we look into the future of the numbers.
Well, a lot of that is based on what Vermont offers, and it's not much. You have two options. You either have Blue Cross or you have MVP. And I don't even know if the town can get MVP. We only have, because of the size of our state, we only have two providers.
We've had MVP before.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we did.
And so you either jump to that, or you start changing and looking at the differences in the plans. And maybe it's something like what I'm looking at is something that is for another time. I mean, just to present to see what those changes are between the different plans. But I know switching to a new plan is going to be, it's a difficult and confusing thing to do.
The other challenge is timing. We don't get this information, the dates, until now. And we have a short window of time to make these decisions in addition to everything else going on. So it's just the timing is unpleasant.
I'm glad you said that, Valerie, because the other piece too is that we could take this information. So if you guys agree to move forward with the decision that you've kind of made or talked about now, and we just take the information that's on the sheet and we give you the information you're looking for, a year from now, the new rate sheet they give us could be oranges. It couldn't even be apples to apples.
Yeah.
I mean, even just from last year, it's totally different. So I totally can appreciate wanting all the information, but as Valerie said, it's like we have this nice narrow window of time. So it's like a rip the Band-Aid decision, unfortunately, instead of being able to actually sit down and have a good discussion and make a good plan.
And oftentimes they tweak something just enough from year to year that it's really not apples to apples comparing prior years, because they're not quite the same, or just.
Okay. All right. Then I say stay the course.
So no changes?
So next year at this time, we'll have this same conversation. Well, it's a little too late. What I'm trying to say is, at work, I've been Blue Cross Blue Shield for the first 12 years. Last year, they said you're going to MVP. We didn't have a choice. And I guess it was cheaper for the bank or better options. And my rate went up a little bit, not a lot. But I realize you can't compare, because when I joked around and said, don't tell me they want 15% increase, you said, no, it's just under 11. Those don't change. I get that in this health world. But I'm just trying to say, right now, if we said to MVP, what would 12 or 15 employees that we have cost us a year? We realize next year, they're going to get a 12% increase or whatever from the Green Mountain Care Board. Rate gives them rate increases. But we could at least have some apples to apples comparison to Blue Cross and MVP for a year. That's all I'm saying. I realize they change another year and you don't have that luxury to say, but I'd like to see what another plan would cost us.
So can we build that in for next year? Being able to look at that and do a comparison, well before we need to make a decision?
Yeah, I just need to figure out where to get MVP information, which I assume is probably on their website.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, like, Blue Cross Blue Shield has a special Vermont website, so I just need to make sure it would be a Vermont rate, I think would be the key.
Okay.
Okay.
So is that a consensus that everything's staying the same? You're not gonna we're not changing anything on this. Not changing the HSA contribution. We're not changing the premiums.
Not for this
Correct.
year.
Yeah, not for this year.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we done with that one?
We've beaten it up.
Okay. You don't need a motion, do you, Val? Or do we need a motion?
What do you think, Jen?
Um,
Want to see a motion?
it probably wouldn't hurt just so we had some fallback.
Okay, what do you boys make a motion?
So moved.
I'll let Peter step.
Continue with Blue Cross Blue Shield based on the spreadsheet, right, for 2021.
Because I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me still.
I sent it to you,
Not here.
to your Yahoo account. Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Even Peeker got the spreadsheet. Come on, Joel.
Check your spam folders.
Joel, I think you're having issues with your email because I sent you one earlier, an email, and you said you didn't get it. So
I got Jen's treasurer's thing at worksheet, but
I might have to sign into your account and fix it.
He blocked you all. Don't let him fool you. He blocked you all, except for me.
Yeah. Either that or he doesn't accept attachments.
Who seconded that? Did Peeker second that?
Nobody seconded it yet.
No.
Who's seconding it? Okay, Peeker. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Raise your hand, whatever. Okay, motion carries.
reluctantly.
Yeah, somebody's facing me. Okay. Police Department cruiser purchase update and authorization to proceed.
Well, not if we can't get it.
Well,
So,
we
when
can
the-
get it, we just can't buy it in Vermont.
Well, when the salesman went to enter the order, he didn't realize he could no longer get 2020s. So they looked around to see if somebody had something, and the closest he could find was the 37,858. I reached out to New Hampshire, and they still have a vehicle, and they said they would deliver it to us for the 34,200. As of Friday, they still had it.
Is that the exact same thing we were going to get from?
Yes, it's the same specs that Heritage gave us.
So how does this work? If you buy it in New Hampshire, sales
And
tax,
there's mileage doing
no
the work
sales
on it.
tax, you just get to pay in Vermont.
Yeah.
Well, we don't pay sales tax for it.
Oh, okay, good. Then don't matter.
Hooray.
Right.
I don't see any, I mean, Bruce, do you see any issues with getting it from New Hampshire?
No, he said that he would work with us and he would get us that vehicle here.
Okay.
Does
I mean,
that
that
include
seems,
the registration, the vehicle registration fee?
Now, the vehicle registration fees, we would have to, once we got it here, do that ourselves here in Vermont.
And that had been baked into the other price.
The other price, correct.
Bruce, does,
We can still get the warranty work done here.
Yeah, we can get the warranty work done at any Ford dealership. Some of them might not put you on the list as quickly, but they still do the work.
Well, it's not our fault they can't get it.
Right.
I move we
Motion?
buy the,
I guess
Yes.
I got, okay, go ahead, Peter. Sorry.
Peter, did you make that motion?
yes, I did.
Okay. Somebody want to second it?
second.
Okay. Go ahead, Joel. Ask your question.
Yeah, the cruiser that you said that Heritage now has found for you, cruiser,
Yes.
and they found you, and it was gonna be about $3,000 more than the Claremont one, New Hampshire.
Correct.
And then 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, when we did the one at G Stones was not a truck, right? It was just an Explorer.
No, there was also a truck at G Stone, but it was more. It was more for the same specs that Heritage and the New
Can't
Hampshire.
get, right? That Heritage can't get,
Correct.
but G Stones can get one.
Well, I don't know if G-Stone can get it because if they don't have it in stock, then they won't be able to order a 2020.
Right.
Now, they stopped making 2020s.
Correct. That's what I was told today. But
Yes.
how much more was G-Stone's truck than this one at Claremont?
G-Stone for the same specs was $2,500 more.
I mean, for me, for $2,500 more, I would at least make a phone call. I mean, how far south do we want to go? We could have gone in the Boston area and got one or something. I'd like to at least have bought it from a Ford dealership in Vermont. I mean, there's one over the mountain in Rochester. There's one in Montpelier and Rutland and all over, not just Heritage or G-Stones. And to skip all those.
Heritage reached out to dealers around here to see if they had vehicles.
They got one that's going to be in on Friday.
Okay.
That's what I was told this afternoon.
Which dealer?
Heritage is going to. They've bought it from Marcotte Ford down in Schenectady, New York. Somewhere down in New York area. He checked over 300 dealers in the New England area.
So is it the same vehicle they gave me a price on? Is that the
Yes, that's the one that's $3,000 more.
Okay.
The Heritage, but it has about 12 more options than the one.
Yes, it has more options on there.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Save us cost.
Is that the options? Is the truck in Claremont exactly what you want with fewer options? It doesn't have the trailer. Does it trailer package? Does it? Rear defroster. Though I just want to make sure it's the right truck.
The trailer package on the truck that Heritage can get seems to be a lot more than what we need. And there's, let me see. I got to hold this far away.
I got about 12 options on here they gave me. Telescoping mirrors, trailer package, running boards.
Yeah, there's running boards. That is not something that's a priority to me.
Trailer brake controller, privacy glass, LED spot.
Trailer brake controller is something that would be for hauling bigger trailers, not something I need.
Okay. I just want to make sure these things, if you add them on later and then it's over the 2,500 to $3,000, what was?
Well, we don't need a tailgate step. Nothing on here I would add on later. Probably
Okay.
the thing I would be interested is the spotlight. But everything else that's on there, I don't think we need
Okay.
a trailer hitch.
No.
Yeah.
So
I just was making sure we're,
Mhm.
the first time you ordered that stuff, it was stuff you wanted for the first truck that now they can't get.
Right.
And I don't agree with waiting until March and order it and getting it in July.
Right.
I'm going to go that way, but just,
the first truck that we requested quotes on are the basic model. They don't have anything extra features on there, which this second vehicle, which they said they can get, has all these extra features. And as I said, the features that I'm looking at, they wouldn't be features I would request or need.
okay. All right.
Sounds good.
I mean,
No, I think I'm fine with doing it from New Hampshire. The chief's done the research. He knows the truck he wants to get, so I'm happy to defer to him, and New Hampshire is fine with me.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, did you see that, Tasha?
Yeah, I did. I lost all my
Alright.
stuff because my computer crashed, so I had to start over.
Okay. All right, motion carried.
the only reason I voted no was because I would have liked to at least reach back out to G-Stones 12 miles away and said, is that budget number still good? And can you get a cruiser for $2,500 more? I think it was well worth it.
So is your vote no on that, or?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
Okay.
Joel voted no, Peter, Ian and I voted yes. Okay, Police Department grant authorization request for City of Virgins for Governor's Highway Safety Grant Program. This is the same one you did last year, right, Bruce?
Yes, correct. Because the City of Virgins is the host agency,
Right.
don't complete an application ourselves. We just complete an agreement between the city of Virgins and Bristol.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion.
So moved.
Okay, somebody second?
Yeah.
I don't know, Tasha pick. It's either Peter or Ian made the motion and Joel seconded. Okay, any more discussion?
So Bruce, what are we looking at in terms of getting for this?
So
Getting with this.
We get reimbursed our time on patrol and mileage, and we can request equipment, which in January we'll make another request for equipment.
And we've determined that we can't get the speed signs, right? That's not covered
The
under
speed
this one?
sign should still be covered. We'll know
Oh,
in
good.
February.
Okay, great. Because we're looking at one more, right? We've got one on north, one on east.
Yes.
And we're looking for one more west?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
great. I look forward to that.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, select board meeting start time, change to 6 p.m. coincide with daylight savings time. So that means the 9th, is that our next meeting right
Correct.
now?
So
Would be at
moved.
6 o'clock.
So moved.
Second?
Or you don't need.
I don't know that we
Don't
need
need
a
a mo-
motion, but somebody want a second? Peeker?
Yes, I'll second it.
I know, you just hate doing it at 6, right? Okay.
Well,
others-
I won't be here on the 9th anyway, so
You won't be here on the 9th?
that's correct.
Okay. All those in favor?
Wait,
say aye.
can we have a discussion?
Oh, sure.
I would like to keep it at 7 p.m. If we were able to do that in any possible way, it greatly helps me, a person who has 2 young children. And also I feel that our meetings can be made more efficient and we could make our meetings quicker and we won't have to go into such late hours. But for me personally, 7 is a great time. That's my pitch.
Ian, I don't mind staying at 7, but I'm where's the logic on if we stay at 7, we don't have to go later for longer evenings. If we're going to start at 6 an hour earlier. I didn't see that. I don't get what you meant.
Okay, just my point, whether we start at 6 or 7, we still go until 11 o'clock sometimes.
Sometimes, but I also feel that we could be more efficient in our meetings. We do tend to talk a lot, and I'm included in that as well. But I feel that we could make our meetings a little tighter and not go as long as we have done in the past. But obviously it's up to the board to decide, but I would love it to stay at 7. I also think for consistency for people joining in, people are used to half a year of being at a meeting at 7. It's just nice to have that continued consistency, similar to other meetings that are always set at either 6 or 7 continuously throughout the year. I just think it's nice to be able to have that. There's always confusion when we do switch it. Every year we seem to have that confusion. So that would be another reason to keep it at 7 o'clock.
You get me out by 9, I'll stay at 7.
Oh God. Well, I can't promise that.
We always say that. Right, Peeker? If we start earlier, then we aren't going past, what did we say, 10?
Yeah.
And we never keep that.
I do feel a lot of it is budget talk and budget meetings. I mean, I know we have those sort of groups of meetings sort of later on in the year, and those tend to go quite long. But I think maybe with Jen's new system, looking at it and starting tackling those now, that would really help.
What's your pleasure? I can do either.
I can do.
I mean, it's certainly a lot easier for me when we're home doing Zoom.
Right.
I don't have to leave at 6:30 to head into town, but.
Right. And I think Zoom will continue too. It doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon.
Speaker? He's already yawning.
He's yawning.
Yeah.
You want to leave it
I
at
don't
7?
know,
You okay
I
with-
just, I don't care. I mean, once the time changes and it's dark, I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be ready for bed by 6 anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Will
is
this
that
be
when
in
you
your-
start driving truck for your brother?
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably not gonna happen right off this year, so we'll see.
Joel, how do you feel?
I can do either.
Okay, it doesn't really matter to me.
Thank
I
you.
I just hate to be.
We haven't voted yet.
11, 12 o'clock.
Well, let's make sure we don't do that. And I will try very hard to keep my comments to a minimum. Or be
Okay,
more
so Val,
succinct.
we'll just nix the motion. You want to withdraw that motion?
I'll keep
Yeah.
that, I'll keep you to that, Ian, so
Okay,
when I'm sitting here at 10:30.
sure. No, please, absolutely, please do.
Okay, I guess we're staying at 7.
Thank you. I very much
All right.
appreciate that.
Public Works Building Site.
I agree.
So I'm just putting that motion denied then, is that okay, or?
That would be fine. Thank you, Tasha. Public Works Building Site Needs Analysis Update. Set date for presentation.
So as I mentioned in my notes, the design team has developed a pretty thorough or
Yeah,
covered a lot of territory report and analysis showing 3 concept plans with a new public works facility with a co-located police station. And right now those plans are circulating at, in-house among folks so that if anybody has any particular feedback or things that other considerations that should be made before the design team finalizes, or not finalizes, but updates that report, and they would like to make a presentation to the select board. And because our meeting last week was close to 2 hours on just those things, just with the 3 of us, I mean, me and Eric and Bruce, that I recommend that we consider a special select board meeting for it.
I
I
agree.
agree.
yep.
And November 2nd would work for their schedule.
Let's do
That's next Tuesday, next
Yeah.
Monday,
it Monday.
next Monday.
I'm not around, but that's okay. I can catch up.
Really?
Well, we'll email around the report so you get to see it anyway. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think it's pretty exciting.
Are there any particular areas that you want us to focus on in terms of, or are we just looking at it as broadly as we can and make comments?
That's a good question. I'll leave that for the design team to answer. I think they're going to be looking for direction from the select board before they take the next steps of like cost estimating. This presentation
Okay.
will not include cost estimating because that's a very lengthy process for them, and it's costly. And they want to have an idea of where the select board wants to go, and also any red flags or anything like that before they keep moving forward.
Okay. And how were you in terms of can you give us a couple minutes of just your thoughts on it? So the reason I asked is I don't have as much experience as Joel, Michelle, and Peeker in terms of these buildings and the history of them. And so I don't know how much I can offer in terms of like, move this over here, why is that door here? But I just wanted to get an idea if like from you or maybe Eric, like your impressions of what they presented. Like,
No offense, Ian. I don't ever contribute that much either. So.
Well, you have your time on the board is longer than me, so you've picked up some by osmosis. But I mean, yeah, I mean, were you, Val and Eric, were you happy in your meeting? Like, were you excited with what they presented?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. There is a couple things that I'm going to talk to Steve about that I think he should tweak on, but other than that, I think the concepts came out very well.
Okay, and they met with you prior to this and obviously got your opinions and your needs. That was covered pretty well in terms of what they presented.
Yeah, it probably covered 90% of our needs.
Okay.
That's a couple things I need to talk to him about to finish it up, but Other than that, the three concepts they did, I thought they did a really nice job on.
Okay, great.
I mean, Val, you said it's in-house, so it's getting comments and suggestions from people within like the public works or the police department.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the drawings were nice. I want to talk with Eric. I have a few different ideas on that back section that I'd like to see explored.
Yeah, that's one of the areas I'd like to change.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then another thing I didn't see, Valerie, was first of all, I like the concept. I'm not crazy about the concept where the two buildings are hooked together.
Mm,
Look better separated by that
Right.
12 feet. And
right.
then I didn't see any. I thought part of the concept was we were going to try to look at. They just moved the dog pound. I thought if we're moving the same thing that we can't use, why are we moving it? And I thought the new building was going to have a section for a dog pound.
Right, yeah, they said during our meeting that that's an open question. They need to have a thought in there, and they're open to ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I read the whole report and the drawings and things. And
Oh, good.
Okay, so November 2nd, 7 o'clock.
make that one at 6.
How about 5:30?
Oh my God.
No,
Okay.
7 o'clock's fine.
Okay, November
So-
2nd, 7 o'clock.
So
Super.
the scale of these buildings, does it match the current scale of what we have, or are they much larger? I know it's a bigger building because it's encompassing sort of all the bays, but it seems like the sheer scale of the buildings is much greater than what we
Ian,
currently have.
Not really.
Okay.
It's actually one of the things I'm going to talk to Steve about is the buildings need to be deeper. Right now with the truck and the plow connected, when you drive into what he's got concepted right now, you're only going to have about 4 feet in front of the plow. That's not even enough to put a workbench or anything like that in.
Okay.
That was one of the questions I also had, Eric. Ian, I
Yeah.
would recommend, Ian, if you want to see a garage that looks a lot like what they've drawn, is go up and visit the town of Starksville's new garage.
Okay.
Okay.
Bruce, what did you think?
I like the layout and the size of the building that they've proposed for the police department. Might be a couple of minor tweaks, but overall satisfied with it.
Yeah,
Well, you had two options too, though, Bruce, right?
Right.
One attached, one detached.
I think detached probably works better, and they did
Right.
about the possibility of a little more distance between the two buildings once they figured out if it goes and if the lot allows that, which they think it does.
and they also looked at the entryways, like the Sally ports entering from the rear instead of the side, and same thing with the Public Works having the trucks enter from the rear rather than the front because of the proximity to the residential neighborhoods and trying to
Yeah.
mitigate noise. But so I think that might still be an open question, but I think folks probably would be leaning towards the front way because it changes the shape of the building to put the rear.
It does, but one of my questions I had, the coming in from the back or then the roof slants towards the south makes a great spot for solar on that big, huge roof of the town barn.
That roof, Joel, is flat.
Huh?
That roof is flat.
Well, they talked about one of the concepts was a flat roof, and that was going to add to the cost because.
Right, for structural.
Then another one was to slant towards the south and enter from the back. And my question is going to be to Breadloaf, how much solar panel could we put on there and how much of the electricity could be generated and pay for that whole building electrical cost per month with solar panels?
Well, the funny thing about that is we've got these two solar projects already in Bristol that are offsetting our electrical costs.
Yeah. But the other one in South 116 is not, none of that goes to the town barn. Because they gave the report back, Sun Common did, that they didn't use enough electricity at the town barn to generate.
Okay.
Then we one of the takeoffs.
Hmm.
But with the solar panels on the barn itself, could be put right in with the cost and maybe generate enough electricity to do this whole building for the month.
And maybe the
That's
police
what I'd like to
department.
know.
too.
That's what I'd
I was
like
gonna
to know.
say,
Take-
yeah,
Net
might be enough
zero.
to say do highway and police department.
Right.
Well, keep that question in your mind for next week.
So the only other thing, there was the salt shed and the lean-to stays the same. They do a little bit of work on that. And then it's that additional, the sand shelter building. That's the new construction, right?
Yeah, that's just a concept.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, looks great. It's really exciting to see that coming together.
Okay,
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
all right. Coronavirus COVID-19 update, preparations, response, and impacts to municipal operations.
Again, this is just a standing item on the agenda. As we know, the governor extended the order to November 15th. There's really nothing new to report on our end. I think the open office hours has been working well, especially with everything going on. Bills and tax payments are due. So I
Did they
don't,
extend the hours, Val, to 2:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and then have open hours on Thursday morning?
yep. Yep.
Okay.
Jen, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay, cool, move on.
Hmm.
Paving and sidewalk project update.
No, the only active one right now is the Main Street project and the West Street paving and East Street paving. We're hopefully nearing completion in the next couple weeks. We still have a lot of open-ended punch list items that need to be dealt with. Obviously, drainage continues to be an issue. But at the same time, they said they're not finished, so they still have some work to do. Ian, did you want to add anything to that from our walkthrough?
Yeah, we walked from Howden all the way down to the end of East Street. Met a few neighbors who had some thoughts to share with all of us. So we'll have to be revisiting that. Some of it is water department related. Some of it is this project related.
In Public Works with some of the ditching on East Street.
Yeah, but it's looking pretty good. Unfortunate that they did the grass seeding and then someone thought it would be really hilarious to drive through it with their truck. That was a real shame. And apparently
It wasn't just someone, it was people parking in front of their houses. It's like, really?
Well, there's that, but someone, I think just a couple hours after they'd finished, deliberately drove their truck through about 2/3 of the seating area. And apparently one of the contractors who lives in Bristol, who works for Hutchins, knows who it is, but preferred not to say. So that's unfortunate. It would be nice for us to be able to find out who did that damage on
Yeah, it's
purpose.
too bad that they couldn't have put up stakes and taping.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But-
Yeah, they sort of, it wasn't, I don't know if it's officially a part of the project. It seemed like the way that Chris talked about it was that they were sort of doing it on their good graces to sort of refinish that area. So I'm not sure exactly how it was incorporated in. I think they did a good job, and it's unfortunate that I think they'll tidy it up, but they're probably not going to do it to the same extent that they did it before. But we did have a long discussion about that. And so I think Chris is going to talk to Hutchins and see what they can do, even if it's just sort of raking it out and cleaning it up a little bit. But yeah, the main things they're working on, obviously the large pools of water in the parking areas by the town green. They have ground some of that out and will be repaving that. And then there's still little things to do. There's signage for the crosswalk signs. There's some accessible parking signage that needs to be updated, but we're getting very, very close. I just wish they were working more on it and to get it done.
So Ian, I have a quick question. You had talked to them about the access and the pavement on the side, where you're having the handicap issues or accessibility issues. Is that their final coat they're putting on there?
Wait, which one?
Like between Yarn and Yoga, the driveway through there, they put the pavement.
No, that's done now. If you head downtown, those two roads
So
have
they
been done.
fixed them. Because
Correct.
when I saw what they put before, I was like, boy, I hope this isn't the final coat.
No, that was just that they put asphalt down temporarily just to be able to make it more accessible, which they should have
Okay.
done at the beginning of the project when and never did. They scraped that out and then they've put in those roads or access are now finished, which is nice.
Okay, all right, good.
So there's only the ones large sections of drainage down by the hatch block and on the other side that needs to be done. And then, as I said, like the grinding of the road and resurfacing. They're also going to redo the one by the post office. They're going to put it in a little bit more, trying to alleviate some of the water that collects there. I noticed today, unfortunately, there's a ton of water at the I guess it's the west entrance of Champlain Farm. There was a huge pool of water, and that's in a newly paved area. So the water's over there now versus being closer to Holly Hall, but it's still, there's a lot of water there. So that's not too
What
great.
about out in front of Alan's house?
That is all grassed and he has cones out there. So I think it's something where it just has to take and then hopefully it'll drain. They dragged up a bunch of pavement that was underneath there. And so the idea is that hopefully it'll drain better now, even with the grass, but yeah.
Ian, I don't know if you've noticed, if you got down the truncated dome by crossing the sidewalk by in front of Martin's to across the Liberty Street, an awful puddle there, probably 3 foot size, round size puddle right on top of the truncated dome and into the pavement. It goes up onto the dome some. And the drain is 2 feet away and the water's not getting to the drain.
Okay.
And it's going to be somebody stepping onto that sidewalk. It's going to slip every time.
Okay. All right. We'll mention that to Chris.
Okay.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Anything else on that? Okay.
Just, well, sidewalk updates, Valerie, for the spring. Now, what Sargent did up by Fred Bajer's Mountain Street from Spring to Fitch or Spring to Church, no, Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah, that was actually supposed to have been done in before July 1st, right?
Right.
We didn't do it. So are we going to do any in the spring before the end of the July 1st?
You did Main Street.
Okay, that's where we, okay. It's just
Right. I think East Street is next on the list.
next on the list, but that's not till after July 1.
I think so.
Can we get those?
Be after March because it's money, the money's in the capital fund now. So if the money's there, we can do it.
Well,
It'll be
right.
there after town
Well,
meeting.
I'd like to put it out to bid, in February.
Mm-hmm.
So don't put it out in June, try to get bidders. They won't,
Yeah.
Right.
that's what I'm thinking.
Val, which side of East Street? Is it the north or south?
North.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Continue where you left off in front of Bob Bingham, somewhere in that area, right?
I think so.
Going west, right, Eric? Or Eric's not on anymore. Yeah,
Yes, he is.
yeah, he is.
He's shaking his head yes, I think.
Okay. All right.
You said yes. Okay. Are you good? All right. Approval of the October 13th, 2020 minutes. I sent whatever small changes I had to Val. Anybody have any other changes or questions? Okay, somebody want to make a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.
Dragging the meeting on, Picker.
Sorry, I thought you were seconding, Michelle. Sorry.
All those in favor, say aye.
All right.
Wave your hand. Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Approval of January 22nd, 2018 meeting minutes. And I didn't have any changes on those, Val. Anybody else? Okay, Peeker moved.
Okay.
Joel second. All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand. Motion carried. Authorize accounts payable warrant and liquor licenses. I know Tasha has the number. We don't have any liquor licenses, do we, Jen?
No.
Any questions on the accounts payable, anybody?
Michelle,
Okay, make sure you go down and sign in this week.
Michelle, I just got your documents. Just
Did you? You're a little behind in time.
Joe, you need to get a slightly newer email account. Come on now.
Switch your email to Gmail or something, brother. Yeah,
Seriously.
Oh. Okay.
I'll get my computer girl to work on that for me.
Yeah. Select board roundtable. Ian, go with you first.
Nothing much. I sort of mentioned there's a couple correspondence for the road project, but I've talked to Val about that. And just an update, I've been posting the information about voting in Bristol. I've been doing that every few days, both for the general election and for the local election. It's the same kind of information. I'm updating it slightly each time since we're over the recommended deadline for mailing, according to this Jim Condos. I took out that in terms of mailing it back and just encouraging people to drop it off in the drop box that we have, or to bring it in on the day, or bring it in when the town offices are open. So I've been posting on Facebook and Instagram, the town accounts, the Bristol Core page, because it's just a useful site page to put it on, as well as Front Porch Forum. And it's going very well. I've actually had some good response. People had questions, which I forwarded to Sharon, and she's answered them for people, which is great. But people have been very positive in terms of getting that information out there, and have been very thankful. So I think that's going well, and I'll continue to do that up until voting day.
Hey, Jen, quick question. If somebody absentee ballots on the election, can they still come out on the town regs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's totally separate.
Right.
Correct.
I just didn't know if once you handed that in, they'd have you checked off as already voting, and then they wouldn't know.
No, I think we're gonna have to do it like we kind of do with the police district, is have the two separate columns.
Okay.
You have one for the general election, and then you have a column for the local election. So
Okay.
if people have done their presidential ballot, but not the local election, if they do come voting day, they could participate in the local.
Okay.
Jen, a couple questions. How has it been going in terms of the returned ballots, that very couple large piles that you had? Have those been going down?
A little bit, not much. I don't know if it's old addresses, bad addresses. People have moved and registered in other states, and we don't have that kind of notification. But we plan to have those out on the counter on voting day, so that when people come and check in, we can look through that first.
Okay.
Try to help, disperse some of those.
And so the town provides the list to the state, correct, in terms of the voter list?
Yes.
So then is it our responsibility to make sure those addresses are correct, or it's the residents' responsibility?
A little bit of both.
Okay. My second question, how has it been going with the local election? Anybody a lot of people asking for those? What's that like?
Yeah, we're
Any movement?
definitely getting some turnout. The only question I got today, and I didn't know the answer to, was someone was looking for a summary sheet of the changes that were made. And there wasn't one on the bulletin board. And I kind of did a quick peruse on the website, and she said she had, but when she clicked on what she thought might be a summary sheet, it was this huge, long document. And so she was like, I wasn't necessarily sure I was totally interested in reading that, but I want to vote on this. Is there a summary sheet floating around out there?
It's the planning commission report. It's their
Yeah.
transmittal memo. I think it's 4 pages, 3 or 4 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the
in
front
the website.
page. Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
front page, and it's called Planning Commission Transmittal Memo and Report, August 7th, 2020.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there a chance is that also on the voting page?
I thought it was, but if it isn't, I
Okay,
can put
well,
it on
it
there.
could be Ian, but I did not know what I was looking for, so I had no good chance at helping.
It actually isn't, and so I'll put that on there. It should have been on there.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay. Peter?
I had something, but I didn't write it down, so I don't remember what it was.
You can email us.
Yes.
Joel?
I have just one thing, and then Ian, one thing for you also. All the stuff you've been putting on has been helpful. Has that been gone through by Sharon first and cleared?
Yes.
Electing.
Yes.
first. I wanna make
So
sure.
she and Jen and Val created
And then
that.
you're putting it on for
and
them.
That's correct. And I did the first posting of that just to the web. They put it on the website. I took it from book. And the only other changes I've made was just the most recent one, which was to remove the mail by postal mail, just because the Secretary of State had said that, you know, do it by this date, which was the 25th, I think, or the 24th. And so I just removed that first section. But everything else was officially from
And
the
then,
town. Yeah.
Bruce, just for you, how was the results on Pine Street, the speed cart?
The 85th percentile was below 30.
Anyone shocked when somebody doing Peaker doing 50 going to the hardware on Sunday afternoon?
There were a couple of speeds that were high 40s, low 50s, but nothing outrageous. We did have one speed on Pleasant that was 77.
Wow. They obviously didn't stop for the stop sign.
That's crazy.
So
what was the average percentile on Pleasant? Same thing as Pine?
it was lower than Pine off the top of my
Good.
remember.
Well, that's good.
It's too bad we couldn't put a camera on those speed cards.
Oh, man.
I want to know who was doing 77.
And then I asked Valerie the other day, and Peaker kind of answered my question yesterday. I asked him at the hardware store. The bid meeting for the washout up on Harlan Road that we're not putting any money in, but it's money. She said that the bidders don't have to be there and there's no timeline on it.
There's no due date. I didn't, there's not a completion date.
Completion date.
Mhm.
I thought we talked about, I thought we learned something on West Street in front of the Merchants Bank last year when it was supposed to start right after Labor Day, and then October 1st, then November 1st. It didn't get done until the 14th or 15th of December in a snowstorm. I thought we had kind of agreed that projects that we're going to put out, we need to put some timeline and some penalties on if they go over time.
Well, in this
Is
case,
this one, can we not?
since the RFP is already out, and I think it's going to be challenging conditions. I think we'll be lucky if we get one bidder. I don't think we're going to have a high response. And I think there are already a lot of barriers in the scope of work because it's federally funded and all these different criteria that have to be followed. And with weather being so variable at this time of year, and I don't know what people's schedules are. I think this is a terrible time to be putting any projects out to bid. So I just put in their time is of the essence, ASAP.
All right. Well, I know three
the
bidders.
best we can do.
I know three bidders are showing up.
Good.
Sorry.
One
I believe
important
we're past
thing
the
to note.
deadline to work in the river this fall.
Say that again?
I believe we're past the deadline to work in the river this fall unless they're gonna waive that for
They
this
did,
project.
they waived it. Because this is such an emergency situation, they waived it. Yeah, I
Good.
checked into that. One important thing to note that the grant requires, as part of the of interest provisions in the grant agreement, no town officers or their families can bid on this.
At least
So
you out, Peaker.
Yep,
Good.
yep.
He wasn't showing up anyway.
They're
I don't know about your brother. I mean,
There goes another bidder because he told me tonight he planned on being there front Wednesday.
well, yeah, I don't know how far it extends. I would think it would be just Peaker, not the whole thing.
And Heather can't bid on it. Or Heather,
Right, or the dog.
or the,
Okay,
okay, that's all I had.
that's all you have, and I'm good. Okay, town administrator's report. Okay, other business, correspondence reports, correspondence received. Anything? No? Okay. So we need to go in executive session to discuss contract and personnel?
And personnel, yes.
Okay, so we're inviting Bruce and Eric?
Correct.
Okay. I make
And
a motion.
given the nature of the topics, I think inviting them both in at the same time and starting with
With Eric.
the salt shed
Yep.
stuff.
Okay.
Fine.
I make a motion, we enter executive session to discuss contract negotiations and personnel matters. And we invite Eric Coda and Chief Bruce Nason in. Somebody second?
Yeah. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Say aye, raise your hand, wave, whatever. Okay, we are now in executive session.